The live is on. Welcome to everybody who's coming in. Making sure Facebook is on point right here. Facebook, what up? It is 5:15 p.m. Eastern on the dot. Hope everybody's having hope everybody's had a fantastic week. It is Friday. It is after quitting time, as they call it. So whoever was at work, hope you had a good week at work. Or whoever been off, hope you had a good day off. Whoever been asleep, hope you had a good snooze. Now it's time for you to wake up. As we're going to get into this topic here today that I told you we're getting into. Let me put the title in here. There it is. Y'all see what it is. Everybody knows what it is. No one's confused as to what it is. And no one's going to be confused as to what it was when this is done. We're going to talk about everything that we need to talk about. That's what we're going to do. So as y'all coming in, introduce yourself in the comment section. Bradley Anderson, what's going on? As y'all come in, introduce yourself in the comment section. I'll shout out a couple people. And then we're going to do what we do here, which most of you probably got a pretty good idea of what we do here. If you don't, you will have an excellent idea. You won't have an idea. You will have actual facts as to what we do here by the time this live is over. So I'm going to give everybody like 30 seconds to get in here. And then we getting started, because I know what I like to say. If you don't know what I like to say, let me tell you right now. To be early is to be on time. To be on time is to be late. And to be late is to be forgotten. Now, we are going to get into this in a minute. I'm letting everybody get like 30 more seconds, then we're going to get into it. Nicholas, what's going on? Nicholas Walker. Appreciate you. Who else we got in here? Damien 96. Dave in the dojo. What's going on? So for those of y'all who don't know me, Facebook, anybody watching on Facebook, hit that like, comment, share button. Hit all three of those buttons. But just pick one for now, then pick the second one, then pick the third one. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. I'm a former 9-year professional athlete. Basketball was a sport, if you couldn't guess. I am an author of 26 books. I'm working on book number 27. I'm working on it right now. I'm almost halfway finished editing book number 27. Not writing. The writing is done. It's just the editing. The editing takes way longer. So we're going through the editing process for book 27. It's coming soon. You'll learn about it in due time. Don't worry, because I work quickly. I have done 4 TED Talks. You don't know what a TED Talk is? Just go on Google, look up TED Talk, type in my name. You'll find out. I have published over 15,000 pieces of content over the last 15 years online. I appreciate you. Go9 Aphobia. Appreciate you. I published over 15,000 pieces of content over the last 15 years. Like Agonophobia is talking about. Half of those, about 7,000 of them, are on this website called youtube.com. Another half are on my website, dreallday.com. That's the written stuff. And all over many other places. And then I started doing this thing called podcasting. You know what a podcast is? Yeah, I've had a daily podcast every single day since 2016. If you didn't know, now you know. It is called Work on Your Game. It's on the podcasting app, Spotify, SoundCloud, what's the other one? Apple Podcasts, Google Play. All y'all know how to find podcasts. Just look my name up. I got 2 of them. I got one called Overseas Basketball Blueprint and another one called Work on Your Game. So anyway, the topic, all of this that I do is under the umbrella of this whole philosophy, this brand, this company that I started. I'm the CEO of, that is called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the mindset necessary to get into the top 1% of what you do in sports. That's how I started it. And then I teach you how you can apply those principles and those frameworks to your business, to your life, and for those of you who are athletes, how you can apply this to sports. One of my 26 books is called Work on Your Game, where I took the whole philosophy and condensed it down into a book. You can get this. I'll tell you where and how to get this later on today. Now, work on your games for 3 types of people. Number 1, you need more game. Number 2, you need better at performance. Number 3, you need to get better at getting noticed. If you need game, you want to perform better, or you need more marketing, you need to get seen, work on your game is for you. Today, we're going to talk about your game. All right, and this topic, everybody can see what the topic is, how to combat what we call white privilege. And I'm putting white privilege in quotation marks because I've seen a lot of people talk about this. And again, those of y'all who do not know me, I'll use that phrase multiple times. I've seen a lot of people talk about this, and they kind of sort of talk about it and mention it, but I haven't heard anyone really directly address what exactly it means, what exactly it is rather, what exactly it means for somebody who's alive today. I do understand that there are some things that do occur or have occurred in the past that could possibly occur, or maybe it's occurred to another person, but I hear people using this phrase, and I never liked this phrase. This phrase has been being thrown around. This is not a new thing. This is not something that people just started talking about when George Floyd passed away a couple weeks ago. This phrase has been being thrown around for a few years that I've heard it. And for those of y'all who are unfamiliar with me, I want y'all to understand one thing about me off top, is that the material that I put out is always self-centered. And when I say self-centered, I don't mean selfish, like you don't care about other people. I mean self-centered. Understand the emphasis? Meaning whatever we talk about, even if it's dealing with what another person says, does, has, whatever it represents, we always got to bring it back to ourselves. And the reason why is because we can't control other people. We can only control us. And I'm talking about this specific topic because obviously this is a subject that's been thrown around a lot lately. But yesterday on my IG, I posted how many of you, actually, first I asked the question, how many white people who follow me feel like you have, or what did I say? I can't even remember what I said. But anyway, the question that I asked today was, do people want to hear me talk about this whole white privilege topic on my live? And a lot of people said, yeah. So we are going to talk about it here today. So here's the first thing I want to establish before we even get into these points. Do I believe that white privilege exists? Because I know people want to know, where do I exactly stand on the subject of white privilege as people like to use it? Do I believe it exists? Yes, I do believe that it exists. Do I believe that in some areas there is black privilege? Yes. Do I believe there is author privilege? If you've written a book, or there's some places that you get some privileges that other people don't? Yes. Do I believe there is tall guy privilege? In basketball, there's tall guy privilege. Tall guys get more privilege than the little guys. Yes. So is there privilege for certain people in certain groups based on certain demographics, based on where they may be at different times in life? Yes. Now, is white privilege a pretty big one? Absolutely it is. Why? Because as I said on my podcast, not this past Monday, but the Monday before that, I did a whole episode about George Floyd, race in America, everything. It's on my podcast now. It's an hour and a half long. You can listen to it yourself on your own time. I said, listen, America is a country, in case anybody didn't know. The country of America was built by white people and for white people. Now, I know black people were slaves and they did some of the work. I understand. They did a lot of the actual work in the southern part of America. That's not what I mean. When I say by, I mean the people who wrote the Constitution and made up the rules and the laws. Those are all white people. All right, y'all know that? People who signed that Constitution, those are all white people. It was built by white people, and the people that they had in mind when they wrote that thing up was to serve other white people. All right, everybody, we all on the same page yet? Have I alienated anyone yet? All right, have I pissed anybody off yet? I know I'm going to before I'm done today, but I don't think I've alienated anyone yet. We all on the same page here? All right, so what we're going to talk about. So since I just told you, I do believe white privilege exists. At the same time, I also just told you that we always bring things back to ourselves. And this topic is specifically targeted at people of color. Today I'm talking specifically to black people, brown people, anybody who sees themselves as non-white, and you could not pass for white even if you wanted to, and you feel like white privilege exists, and you believe white privilege may be in your way, or maybe you don't think white privilege is in your way, because I posted this on my story today, who thinks white privilege is slowing them down? And there was about 60-40 people said, no, white privilege is not slowing me down, but 40% of people said they think that it is. I'm going to tell you, even if you do not think white privilege is slowing you down, you don't think it's in your way, you don't think it's a problem, you don't think it needs to be eradicated, maybe you're just okay with it, maybe you don't even agree with it, I'm going to tell you how living in America, you can combat, or you can use the energy of white privilege strategically to help you being a black or brown person in the United States of America. So anyone who's interested in that conversation, please tap the screen so we can get some heart action going, like right here on the side over here on this right column, and then we're gonna get into this right now. So I got my points ready. I know what I want to talk about. I know where I want to take y'all here today. So if y'all ready for that, somebody tap the screen and we're gonna get started in a moment. And anybody who has a question, comment, concern, complaint, criticism, I will take those at the end of the broadcast. All right, so let's get straight into it. Whoever tapped the screen right there, I appreciate it. And they might come in later. I ain't gonna wait. Point number one, first thing you need to do. I'm gonna tell y'all something that I heard from Stephen Curry. Yes, Steph Curry, the basketball player who shoots the threes. He, for a long time, he was on this under market contract in the NBA. He had a contract for like 4 years, $44 million. $44 million is a lot of money. But there were a lot of players in the NBA making more money than Steph Curry, and he was better than them because when he signed the contract, he had been going through injuries and stuff, so people weren't sure he would ever become like fully who realized himself. So he signed this contract, and he ended up outplaying the contract. So he was making way less money than he could have been making. He's got a bigger contract now. But someone once asked him, Steph, How do you feel about the fact that you have this contract and there are a bunch of players who you are clearly better than? You won the MVP award twice. You won the championship. There are players you're clearly better than making more money than you. How do you feel about that stuff? Does it bother you? Do you get annoyed when you see other people making more money than you? And here's what Steph Curry said. He said, one thing my father always told me, his dad who used to play in the NBA, he said, my dad said, never look at another man's plate. Never look at what somebody else is eating. All you can focus on is what you got, what your situation is, and how you make the most of that situation. It's not your business what another person has. If somebody else who's has half your game was making twice as much money as you, or somebody who has twice as much game as you is making half as much as you, none of that is your business. The only thing you can focus on is what you can control. He didn't go in and do all that explaining. All he said was never look at another man's plate. I'm extrapolating it to give y'all a little bit more context to that. And I'm starting this whole conversation with that point right there because, again, for those of you who don't know me, I'm going to give it to you straight up. All right, no bullshit. All right, no whining, no complaining, no bitching, no excuses. All right, this is what I do every single day. I've been doing this for years. This is not new. After the George Floyd thing, this ain't new. I've been doing this shit. All right, some people have been doing it for 2 weeks. I've been doing it for damn near 2 decades. So here's the thing. If you are black and you are complaining or concerned or bothered in any way by the concept, whether you believe it, whether you can point out examples, whatever you want to call it, of white privilege, you are doing yourself a disservice because you are looking on somebody else's plate. You're looking at some white person's plate and you're seeing that they have some privileges and some opportunities, some advantages that you don't have because you're not white, and you are allowing that. If you're not allowing it to slow you down action-wise, if you are not bitching about it, even if you're not saying nothing, if you're even looking at that plate, if you're even looking at what's on somebody else's plate, you're not looking at yours, which means you're not making the most of the meal that you got. I don't care if you eating hot dogs and fish sticks, and the other person got filet mignon and spaghetti and the best dessert in the world, whatever the good food is. Y'all know what I mean. Like, you got to focus on your plate. Whatever it is you got is what you got. So what you got is black disadvantage, if that's what you want to call it, and all these white people over here got white privilege, and y'all going for the same goal. I'm gonna tell you how to deal with this in a minute, by the way. But first of all, we got to start at the baseline. All right. So I'm gonna tell you what to do about this and how you can turn it to your advantage. But first of all, we got to start with the beginning. Don't look on another man's plate or another woman's plate. So if you think white people have privileges in America, guess what? I agree with you. They do. White people do have privileges in America. Why? Because America is built by and for white people. All right, that's just a fact. All right, you could move out of America if you think it's that terrible. I would suggest that you stay because there's more opportunity here than any other country in the world. So even if you think that white privilege exists and white people got opportunity that you don't, look, I agree. But we ain't looking on other people's plates. All right, you can only focus on what you got. So when you see somebody else got, they got this and they got that, they got this much money, they got these job opportunities, they get to get away with certain things, nobody bothers them when they say this, nobody cares when they do that, nobody's looking at them suspiciously when they walk in the store, in the mall, this and that. I get it. I'm not commiserating with you, but I'm telling you I understand where you're coming from. But at the same time, look, we ain't on that excuse shit. All right, you were born brown or black, you're going to die brown or black unless you know Michael Jackson. You get what I'm saying? You was born that way, you're going to die that way, and this is the life that you got to live, okay? This is the plate that you were handed. You got to do something with this plate. You got to play these cards that you've been dealt. Everybody following me so far? If you are complaining about white privilege as a black or brown person, you are setting yourself up to fail because you are diverting your attention from where it should be on you to where it shouldn't be on anything other than you. One of the best productivity hacks that I give people all the time is I don't pay attention to what anybody else is doing. I don't follow too many people here on Instagram. I don't follow nobody on Facebook. I don't follow too many people on Twitter. If you ever find me on Facebook, don't friend request me if I don't know you because I will not accept it. I don't pay attention to nothing that nobody else is doing. I pay all attention to what's on my plate, whether it's empty and I need to go get some food or whether I just bought some food and I'm about to eat it, but I'm paying attention to what's on my plate. And you all need to do the same thing. And even if you're not black, listening to me right now, understand that everything that we're talking about, you can apply this to you as well. So if you're not black, listen to me right now. You should still listen because you need to understand that everybody that you're hearing on social media, whatever the hell they've been talking about, we don't all got the same opinion, okay? I don't disagree with them. I'm not against them, but we ain't all got the same opinion. Y'all understand the difference. Right? It's not black and white. You on this side or on that side. I know some people who lack intelligence want to frame it that way, but that's not really the way that it works. So everybody cool with me on point number one? Are we done with point number one? Oh, no, we're not done with point number one. All right. You can't control other people's advantages. All right. You just can't. You can't control an advantage that other people have. I tell this story all the time. I was in college. My coach who recruited me, my sophomore year, he got fired. My last 2 years, it was a different coach. He got rid of everybody. I wasn't even on the hoop team. There was people on the hoop team that didn't have 10% of my game, but they're on the team, and I was sitting in the bleachers watching the game. Now, did they have an advantage that I didn't have? Were they better than me? No. They just had a situation happen to work in their favor that worked against my favor. Now, could I complain about it? I could have. Did I have a right to complain? Absolutely. But did I? I did not. I looked at my plate and said, what do I need to do? What can I do with this situation and turn this into something that works for me? I turned it into something that works for me. I even ended up writing a book about it. This one right here and is in this one right here. But I'll tell you about those later. I'm just giving you those examples, but not to impress you, but to impress upon you that we don't look on other people's plate. When you are looking at a situation and you feel that it's unfair in any way, especially when it's systemically, as people have been using this word, systemically unfair. We're not even talking about the racism part. We're just talking about a system is set up. If you are black living in America, the system of America is not set up to benefit you. Now, this is a fact. It's not set up to destroy you, and it's not set up to keep you from succeeding, because there are plenty of black and brown people who are successful. We can agree with that, right? But the system is not set up just for you to win. It's not like a clear path. Like, it's not the yellow brick road for you to win. We can all agree to this. Even if you're not black, you could probably agree to that. Again, there's nuance in here. So I'm not saying it is absolutely terrible, and I'm also not saying it's absolutely perfect. There's opportunity. There are black and brown people who are successful. We can name them, right? We know who they are. And there are black and brown people who ain't shit and ain't doing nothing. And you probably know who they are. I don't know who they are, but we can find them, right? We know where to look. We're looking for some people who ain't got nothing going on, right? Of all colors, all shades, shapes, and sizes in life. If you are looking at a situation in life and saying that it's unfair, understand something. Life is unfair. All of life is unfair. Nobody ever, I don't know if anyone ever promised you when you was in kindergarten or first grade, or your parents told you, or your grandma told you, when you go over her house, she give you some candies and some candy and some cookies, that life is supposed to be fair. Life is not supposed to be fair. Life is not set up to be fair. Life is not designed for everyone to get a fair shake and everyone to get the same amount of opportunity. Even though it sounds like, not everybody. Let me be clear that I'm not saying everybody. And anyone who got a question or comment, I will address all of them at the end here today. I'm not going to interrupt what I'm saying. I'll address everybody's questions and comments at the end. And now, see, I just broke my concentration saying that. With life not being fair, understand something. Sometimes in life, you're going to have to do a little bit more. Sometimes you'll have to do a little bit less. Like, is anybody who's listening to this right now ever got a situation work in your favor because you knew the right person, or you were in the right place, or you just happened to get lucky and you didn't have to work as hard as somebody else? You didn't have to do all the grind that other people did, and you just had some luck shine on you. We all got lucky before, and we all been unlucky before. So the same way that you don't give it back when you get lucky, all right, don't bitch when you're unlucky. And if you were born black or brown, listen, you didn't have 15, 25, 50 years of being like this. All right, don't start the complaining now. All right, now you're going to start complaining in the last 2 weeks. Like, you've been black your whole life. All right, how did this all of a sudden become a problem? Again, I'm not saying you personally. I'm not saying anybody individually. But let's keep it 100 here, as y'all like to say. All right, life ain't supposed to be fair, and life ain't going to be fair. But I've done a whole masterclass on my podcast called Working the Game, where I talked about how do you set things up to make the unfairness work in your favor. See, what y'all need to understand is this. A lot of people who have been positioned as leaders in our culture, I don't consider them leaders, but maybe some of you do. They have y'all thinking that things are supposed to be set up to be fair. Like, we just want a fair shake. We want everything to be fair, 50-50. Fuck that. Things will never be 50-50. All right, so that's a losing battle. All right, so is anybody out there? I posted on my story earlier. They closed down the highway. I-95 closed in Miami. Ain't no cars right now in this rush hour because of protesting going on. And shout out to the protesters. If that's the way you want to voice your opinion, do it. As long as you ain't breaking no laws, you do what you want to do. I'm not doing it, but I'm not mad at you for doing it. I'm not against you for doing it. However, if the reason that you're protesting because you want things to be fair, all right, you're going to be protesting the rest of your fucking life, because that shit ain't never going to be fair. All right, that's the point that I want you to get it. I want you to understand. And I want you to understand that since unfairness exists in life, what you need to be aiming for is, how do I get the unfairness to work for me instead of having the unfairness work against me? Don't try to abolish unfairness. All right, that's a losing battle. It's like trying to stop the rain from raining. What you need to do is figure out what you're going to do when it rains. Not how you're going to stop the rain, but what can you do when it rains so you can still do what you need to do. Everybody following where I'm at? I'm just trying to give y'all a baseline, especially those of y'all who don't know me like that, to give y'all a baseline of my ideology and the way that I think and the way that I give my message to other people. So now that we've established that, let's move on to point number 2. The topic here today is how do you combat or fight or do whatever you want to do when it comes to white privilege in America. Point number 2, understand I said this 5 years ago, and I'm going to tell y'all something straight up. This will be from my own personal experience in the business world. As a black man, now I told you I've done 4 TED Talks. I do keynote speaking, I do coaching, I do consulting, a lot of business where I'm in the quote unquote white world, corporate America, where y'all see some of my pictures on IG where I got the suit on, I'm standing on stage giving speeches. It's mostly white people in those audiences. Let me tell y'all something straight up, real rap. As a professional speaker, I need to be 20 times better than some white dude to get the same gig for the same amount of money. Now I'm pausing there for emphasis. I want that to sit in. I want that to really sit in your mind. And this is no bullshit. I'm not saying this this is just straight up. I got to be 20 times better than it. So any white dude who's like a motivational speaker and they do speeches and keynotes and they're white, any of them who you see doing speaking gigs, then you see me doing a speaking gig, you can guarantee if you consider us equal, I'm 20 times better than the white guy because we're equal. I'm 20 times better than him just to be on the same level as him. Why? Because in the corporate world, as a professional speaker, corporate America is a whole bunch of middle-aged white people. All right, that's a fact. Actually, middle-aged white men, not even female, it's mostly men. Middle-aged white men. So anytime you see a white man who says he's a professional speaker and he does speaking gigs and he does keynote speaking, I see 20 of these dudes every day. All right, most of them, in my experience, and listen, I'm a keynote speaker. I've seen these guys. Most of them ain't shit. They're terrible. They have nothing to say. They're not bringing anything new to the table. They're saying the same platitudes over and over and over again. They're cheap versions of people that you heard of before. And I'm looking at them, and you know what I'll be thinking to myself? When I go do a speaking gig, usually, if I go to a gig that has more than one keynote, like it might be a keynote on Monday, then there's another one on Tuesday, another one on Wednesday. So let's say I do the Tuesday keynote, right? I'll get there a day early, and I'll go to the Monday one because I want to see that guy. And I'll go to the Wednesday one because I want to see the girl because I want to see what they're doing. I'm like, shit, they might be better than me. Let me see if I could steal some game from one of them. And I listen to these people speak, and it's usually white people. I never did a keynote. I've never done a keynote speaking gig that had more than one keynote where more than one person was black. All right, if I'm speaking, ain't no other black people keynoting. All right, that's a fact. All right, we got our one black person. All right, we good. So I go look up a speaking gig. I see they booked Magic Johnson. I'm like, all right, I ain't getting that one. Maybe next year. All right, they already got a black guy. The whole point is this, and I'm not saying that to complain. I'm saying that as this is absolute fact that I've seen in my business life. I got to be 20 times better than a white guy in some areas, in that particular area, just to get on, just to get my opportunity. And I'm telling you that to tell you this. Right now, that bar is lowered a little bit right now because a whole bunch of white people scared right now. They scared of saying the wrong thing or not doing the right thing. We all can see this. Y'all be on social media. Y'all see it. Every company is apologizing. Anybody who's ever said the wrong thing 20 years ago on Twitter, they getting fired, they getting canceled, they getting kicked off their TV shows. We see this. Right now, if you are a black or brown person, continue working on your game because though you may need to be a lot better than the white person in order to get the gig, listen, that ain't new. All right, that did not just start existing. As a professional speaker, listen, y'all know how this book came to be? How I got the publishing deal for this book? Because I was on stage giving a keynote speech. I stepped off the stage. Somebody came up to me and said, yo, you ever thought about writing a book with a traditional publisher? Because I had like 20 books self-published. I said, yeah, I did. I had this book in mind. That's how I got that publishing deal. Because I was on that stage performing, doing my thing. And somebody came up to me from a publishing company, a white woman, by the way, and signed me to this publishing deal. I went to their offices in Manhattan, right at Madison Square Garden. I didn't see a black face in there. But guess what? They dropped that bag, and we made this book. So I'm not saying it to complain. I'm telling you that you already know what the game is. Your parents probably already told you this. If you're black and living in America, this ain't new. You got to be a lot better than the white person in some spaces to get your gig. Now, I didn't have to be 20 times better than some white dude to play ball professionally. I ain't got to be 20 times better to write a blog or do a live stream. This is flattening the land out where anybody could do whatever they want. YouTubing, Instagramming, blogging, self-publishing, all of that. But in some areas, you're going to go into corporate, all right, you got to be way better. You black, trying to be a keynote speaker, all them white people in there, all right, first of all, ain't none of them ever talked to nobody who looks or sounds like me. So I got to be way better just to get them to even relax, right? In the first place. And again, this ain't no hyperbole, and this ain't no theory. All right, this is what I've fucking seen and done myself and gotten myself paid as a keynote speaker. I had to be way better. I'm telling you all that to tell you this. Even those of you who ain't speakers or athletes or authors, you might need to be better, a lot better than somebody else just to get an equal opportunity. All right, and ain't no amount of protesting, hashtagging, or complaining going to change that ratio. Not in your lifetime. Maybe your grandkids might have it different. Maybe it'll be equal for them. In your lifetime, that probably ain't going to change. So here's what I suggest you do. Prepare yourself to be 10 or 20 times better than the white guy, right? Do that. And then if you don't need it, at least you still got it. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Everybody with me. Point number 3. The topic here today is how to combat white privilege in America. Now, this is what I just touched on this in point number 2. White America right now is running scared of saying anything wrong towards a black or brown person in any way. Even something they said 3 years ago, it was a joke. They're afraid of it right now. Right now, they're running scared of just saying they're doing the wrong thing. I'm not saying it like it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just an observation. And again, all y'all be on social media. All y'all know that this is exactly what's happening. Nobody wants to look racist. So right now, any of you black or brown people, let me tell you something straight up. Ain't none of y'all got no fucking excuses to fail. Because right now, white America is as open to you, your black or brown ass, than they have ever been before, and they will ever be probably again while you're alive. Unless another black person get killed by a white cop, unarmed black person get killed by a white, unless that happens again, which shit, I strongly doubt. I hope it doesn't happen again. They are more open to you right now than they've ever been. Any of you who's a speaker, listen, get your speaking materials ready because you could book a bunch of speaking gigs right now. I just got booked for a speaking gig this week, and I didn't even think about it. You know what? They might have booked me because I'm black. I didn't even think about it. I figured they booked me because I was good, right? That's my ego talking. But they might have booked me because I'm black. But you know what? As long as the bag is right, they can book me for whatever reason they want. But all of you black people, white America is open to you right now. All right, if you want to start a business, and you want to sell a product, you want to get your voice heard, you want to give a speech, you want to, whatever it is you want to do, all right, they listening. Everybody is fucking listening right now, standing at attention. Y'all better be ready to go. If you ain't got your shit together, you ain't been working on your game, listen, start doing it right now, because right now you got a little window. Like between now and when those cops go to court, and that could take months before they go to court for that trial, or whatever's going to happen, this is a window right now. I'm telling y'all, it's a window. Because if those cops go to jail, those cops go to prison, here's my prediction, that all this shit, these white people like pandering to black people, this shit gonna end. If those cops go to prison, they're gonna be like, all right, y'all, we gave y'all what y'all wanted, now it's over. Now let's get back to how it was. Now, I don't know if that's gonna happen. I'm not predicting that's gonna happen. I'm saying if that happens, all this shit gonna be over. So y'all got about, how long is it gonna take? We don't know. Court cases, you never know. Well, let's say 4 months, right? Let's say you got to like Columbus Day. All right, ironic that I'm bringing that up. Let's say you got till Columbus Day, October. All right, that's how long you got to get your shit together. All right, don't blow this opportunity. It ain't gonna last forever. And point number 4. Topic again is how to combat white privilege in America. And I'm gonna answer all these questions. I see we got some comments here. Black people, if you got your shit together, the lane is wide open. It's wide open. I was talking to a friend of mine today. She is left-leaning. She is extremely liberal. She hates Donald Trump, and she thinks Joe Biden is going to win. We ain't talking about that. But I was speaking to her today, and she said that she's a journalist. She writes for like newspapers and magazines and stuff. And she said that right now, a whole lot of newspapers and magazines are paying black journalists a lot more than they usually do to write stuff because, number one, they want to look like they're hiring black people. And number 2, people want to hear from black voices right now. They want to hear what black people got to say. So the lane is wide open. Any of you journalists, any of you who's an author, any of you who's an actor, I know you can't really act right now because people ain't getting together, but when that comes back, any of you who works in corporate America, you're trying to get promotions, any of you who's a salesperson, any of you who's a professional speaker, any of you who sells products and you are a black-owned business, you should start promoting the shit out of the fact that you're black-owned. What they do on Uber Eats the other day, now if you order from a black business on Uber Eats, you ain't got to pay the $2 delivery fee. I thought that was some serious fucking pandering bullshit. But listen, if I own a black business, I'm like, all right, Uber Eats, I'll take that. I'll take that extra $2. Yeah, come order from me right here. Yeah, Dre's fried chicken. But y'all know what I'm saying. There's a lane wide open right now. Professional speakers, the lane is wide open. I just saw on, where was I? I think I was on Twitter. Y'all know the TV show The Bachelor? I don't even watch the show, but y'all know that show on ABC, The Bachelor? They got a black guy to be the bachelor. All right, everything's wide open right now. All right, this is your opportunity. If you got your shit together, the black dude who's going to be on The Bachelor, he used to be a wide receiver in college football. I forget what school. I think he said he played at Wake Forest, but he graduated. But he is going to be the bachelor. He's the first black guy to be the bachelor on that show in the history of the show. They just announced. I just seen that today. And I don't know nothing about reality TV or any of that, but this is what I'm saying. The lane's wide open, black and brown people, if you got your shit together. If you've been doing what you supposed to have been doing. If you have been looking at your own plate, paying attention to what you need to be paying attention to, not focusing on what somebody else got and what you don't got, all right, that ain't doing nothing for you. Somebody said they had a black bachelorette. All right, well, now they got a black bachelor, so now they balance the shit out. All right, they had 1 and 1 in how many years they had that show. Anyway, the whole point is this. If you got your shit together right now, you need to start promoting yourself heavy. All right, you need to start advertising, marketing more, writing more content. If you got an Instagram, start posting more often. Let your voice be heard. Show people your game. Whatever you've been working on, show people your game. The opportunity is out there right now. All right, is everybody clear now on what you need to do when it comes to dealing with white privilege? You notice we ain't really talked about white privilege. We ain't say nothing about white people really here, because as I said, I'm going to recap these points. I'm going to tell you how you get these books free, and I'm going to answer everybody's questions. Understand, as I said again, ladies and gentlemen, my ideology is not about what somebody else is doing, what somebody else said, who won what race, who's talking about who. The only thing you can actually control is what you do. And I know people are promoting voting and all that. Look, go vote if you want to vote. But once that person gets into the office, you can't control what they do. You ever seen somebody win an election and then do the opposite of what they said they was going to do? Y'all seen that before, right? So just because you vote for somebody don't mean things are going to change for you. What changed for you the last, we had Obama 8 years, we had Trump 4 years. What changed for you as a direct result of Obama or Trump? Most people can't name one thing. All they can name is what they think about and how they feel about that person. But what did they actually do that affected you? What did you do that affected you? Then answer that question. Everything you do affects you. So you got way more control over your life than any politician, any influencer, any system, any privilege, any injustice, any unfairness. As long as you're allowed to talk about it, you got an opportunity to do something about it. As I said in my post, I said this like 3 days after or a week after the whole situation happened in Minneapolis. We are not victims. All right? I don't harbor victims. I don't tolerate victim thinking or victim mentality. I don't want to hear no black or brown person talking about white nothing, because you ain't white. So why are you even talking about it? Why are you even looking at what they doing to even be knowing something, has something to say? You need to be talking about what you need to be doing. Your privilege, your opportunities, your game. Again, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. What I'm saying is we can't control it. So what you need to focus on is what you can control and what you could do for you. Because at the end of the day, when it's all done, the only thing anybody gonna know about you is what you did for yourself. Not what you could have did, not how the system held you back, not how somebody got in your way, not how you weren't given the same opportunities. All that's gonna matter is what you did. All right, they call that a resume. All right, when you die, they call it an obituary. It's the exact same thing. A resume and obituary is the exact same thing. It's a list of what the fuck did you do with the opportunity that you had. Ain't no excuses. Ain't no coulda, woulda, shoulda on somebody's tombstone. It's only what you did. Not what you could have did, not what you thought about doing, not what somebody blocked you from doing. Everybody clear? Let me recap these points really quick. How to combat white privilege strategically. Number one, look at your own plate. Like Steph Curry said, never look on another man's plate. Focus on what you got. Life is not set up to be fair. It ain't supposed to be fair. It ain't never going to be fair. So if you thought it was supposed to be fair, welcome to reality. Point number two. You got to be, sometimes as a black and brown person, you might have to be 20 times better than the white guy just to get the same gig. In some industries, not everywhere, but in some industries, as I gave the example as a speaker. Number three, white America will never be more sympathetic or fearful of looking racist right now than they are right now. So you had no excuse to fail. All right, any of you who's failing right now and you are blaming white people is more open to you right now than they will ever be. Take advantage of this window, because I'm telling you, when that trial ends for those cops, all right, this shit might be over. I don't know. Maybe it'll keep going forever, but I wouldn't bank on that. Now, I wouldn't sign up for that class, as Jim Rohn used to say. And point number four, black people, If you got your shit together, the lane is wide open right now. Journalists, authors, actors, corporate, salespeople, anyone who owns a black business where you sell to just outside customers, anybody, you need to be promoting the fact that you run a black business, that you got a black voice, and you got your shit together. All right, there are white people who will come buy your shit just to prove that they ain't racist. All right, not to the world, just to themselves. Like, let me go buy something from a black business so I don't feel racist. They gonna do it right now. But you better have a good product, and you better have your shit together, and you better have a way of getting your voice out to people. So whatever it is you got to do it, because the lane is wide the fuck open right now. No excuses. Now, before I take questions, let me tell you about these two books right here. I'm taking questions right after that. This book is called The Mirror of Motivation, The Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. I wrote this book for anybody who wants to step out of the old you. Any of you who've been complaining and bitching and whining and not doing shit for yourself, and you want to step into the new you with a new energy, a new approach to life, different results, even from the same actions, because you change your approach and you change the way you see yourself in the mirror. This book will show you how to do it. That's why it's called The Mirror of Motivation. This is not a hype up. This is not a motivational book. This is the mirror of motivation. You're going to learn to do it for yourself. I'm going to give you the framework. All you got to do is bake the cake. I'm going to give you the recipe. Get this book free. It's already paid for by going to mirrorofmotivation.com. All you do is take care of the shipping. Mirrorofmotivation.com. The book's paid for. You take care of the shipping. This right here is called the Overseas Basketball Blueprint. This is for anyone who wants to play professional basketball overseas, even if you're from a small school, no background, no pedigree, no game film. You don't even know how to begin. Go to balloverseas.com. I wrote out the blueprint. It's a blueprint. You know what a blueprint is, right? It's the plan that you write before you start working. I'm going to give you the plan to how to play basketball overseas, balloverseas.com. The book's already paid for. It's 237 pages. All you do is take care of the shipping. We just ordered 50 more of these to get so we can ship them out because we're about to run out. We only got like 10 left right now. I just ordered 50 more of them today. balloverseas.com. Now, let's see what we got going on in questions in the comments section. We got a lot of comments, so all right, we got to get through these as quickly as we can. We got about 20 minutes to get through these, so if you got a question or comment, go ahead and post it now. Try to keep it as short as possible. I want to see if I can answer everybody, so I'm going to answer like half Instagram, then I got a bunch on Facebook, and then we're gonna go back and forth. Mozart Gates, what's going on? A Gold 9ophobia said, I've been somewhat of a mentor. What you mean somewhat of a mentor? Since 2005? Man, if I'm only somewhat of a mentor, man, how'd you stick around all this time? Bradley said, watch his YouTube and podcast, work on your game when you're done here. Yeah, that's a good idea. Y'all listen to what Bradley said. Cam said, my guy, John, said something 2 years ago, never really listened or followed until 4 months. Oh, he put you on. Best thing that ever happened to me, already bought 3 of your books. Can't wait to read them. Well, shout out to John. So your man John who told you that, who put you on to me, tell him I said I appreciate it. And you should appreciate him as well. Free said, what do you think the end result of all this will be? I can't see anything changing. I was against the riots, but words weren't working. I don't know if this will either. Well, you got half the people saying there's a riot, half the people saying there's a protest. So it depends on who's out there. Some people are rioting, some people are protesting. So they kind of getting mixed together. I think the end game depends on what happens in court. That's the thing. I said this when it first happened. When the video first went viral, number one, they got to arrest the cops. That's done. They got arrested. They got charged. Next thing is they got to go to court. They get their day in court. Everybody gets a day in court in America. They get to say their piece, whatever argument they're going to make, and we'll see what happens. That's the step we on right now. And court cases take a long time. So that's the reason why they need to hurry up and make this trial happen quickly. In America, in the Constitution, it says you have a right to a speedy trial. But a speedy trial sometimes can mean 6 months. But they need to be fast with this one because there's a lot of unrest. People want to see a result. All right, so we got to see what happens in court. But I do not think it's a slam dunk that those officers all go to prison. I will say that. But we'll see how it plays out in court. I'm not a lawyer, but we'll see what happens. But that's the thing everybody waiting for. We waiting for a result from court. Ain't nobody can say that it's done until those guilty or allegedly guilty, because they've been charged and they get a right to their say, until we find out what happens to them. That's what everyone's waiting on. Dave in the dojo was good. Spawn the God says, what do I do to increase my energy? Go to Work on Your Game University. WorkOnYourGameU.com. JN said, you got to be able to evolve in the corporate world and in general. Yeah, you got to step your game up, especially if you're black or brown. You just got to be better. That's just a fact. Everything that I said is actually a fact, what I'm saying. This is not some observation I saw somebody else do. This is something I saw myself. Somebody said, I'm laughing about what you said, LeBron not being so intelligent when it comes to stuff like this. It's just that he's shallow. is the best way to. I think his arguments are very shallow, and it works with the social media audience. But when they're really examined, I don't think there's any depth to some of the stuff that he says. Doesn't mean he's not allowed to say it. Everybody can say whatever they want. It's the beauty of social media. Nehemiah says, when you answer questions, how do you have the energy to be consistent while going hard for a long time? This is what I do. This is my skill. This is my gift. So it's easy. This is fun. JN said, that's some victim ass thinking. You say white privilege is hindering you. Well, a lot of people think that. And JN, you got to remember that everybody don't have the same life as you. Like, somebody works in corporate America, they can very well believe that, and they're right. They're not lying. That's the truth. But it's just, you can't use that as an excuse forever because it's always going to be there. It's not going away. But white privilege does exist, depending on where you at. All right, so let's see what we got over on Facebook. David Griggs, what's good? That's right, you can't help anyone until you help yourself. Jose, what's going on? Said Cubans came here with nothing, can be successful. All right, so Jose's Cuban. I appreciate that. My parents came here poor, no English, and many people in Miami hated the Cubans. Some people will always be racist. That's right. Said white dudes don't have your style of delivery. Well, here's the thing, Jose. When it comes to speaking, they don't need to. That's the whole point that I was making. The corporate speaking industry is made by and for middle-aged white men. So guess who they book? Middle-aged white men. That's why if any of y'all go to a conference and you look at the lineup of speakers, it's going to be a whole bunch of middle-aged white dudes in cheap suits. That's just the game. That's the game. But if I'm going to be on that stage, if you see me on the stage giving a speech, guaranteed I had to be 20 times better than about 30 white dudes just to get that gig. That's just a fact. And I've seen it. I have seen it. Jose said, black man get promoted faster than a white man because they're trying to drive black. You're right. I've heard many white men say that, Jose. So Jose made a good point. He said in corporate America, because of, before this we had, what do they call it? What's the thing they call it with, for move black people up? I can't remember the name of it. Affirmative action. So they had affirmative action so that because black people was like, yo, we're not getting the same opportunity. So now, if you're black in corporate and you like the only one, you probably going to move up faster than everybody because they can't look racist and not move you up. If you don't move up, you could just accuse them of racism and you could destroy the whole company. You could sue them for $100 million. So now, if you're black, as long as you got your shit together, you can't be black and a fucking bum. If you're black and you're good, you will move up just because you're black because the company can't afford to look racist and not moving you up. And now, you kidding me? If I worked in corporate America right now, I'd be the CEO by the end of the fucking year because they ain't got no choice but to move me up. Because all I got to do is make it even feel like I'm about to call racism, and they gonna go running. They gonna start pissing in their pants. So that's the game right now. And that's what I mean, y'all. Step your games up because the opportunity is there. Jose said this is more movement against Donald Trump than to help African Americans because some white liberals have hijacked the movement. I've heard many people say that, and I think, yeah, some of that is part of it, that there are white liberals who just want to get rid of Trump. They don't really care about black people or Black Lives Matter or none of that. They're just trying to build up enough pressure to try to get Trump out. But I don't know. Joe Biden against Trump, I'm not sold on that one. I ain't sold on that fight. I'm not sold on that fight just yet. So we'll see what happens. But I will say I am not sold on that fight. I appreciate you, Jose. Now let's see what else we got here. I think we got a couple more comments. Sports Lover said, would you go to somebody's graduation if you got beef with them? Depends on what you mean by beef. Now, the era that I come from, beef means when I see you, guaranteed to be in ICU, quoted by Notorious B.I.G. These days, when I hear people say beef, they mean two people talking shit about each other on Instagram. That's not beef. That's conflict. That's just a disagreement. Beef means next time I see that person, I'm doing something to them, ain't gonna be no conversation. That's my definition of beef. So I don't know what you mean when you say beef. Do you mean you just don't like them? You got a problem? Y'all need to talk about something? If that's the case, yes, I would go. Now, if it's actual beef, like when you see him, you gonna sock him, then I probably wouldn't go. You don't want to sock somebody at their graduation. Wait till you see him at the after party. Maximum Spud was good. Amen. I said CEOs are likely to be white and tall. What book did you read that in? Eight that said you supporting Trump and R. Kelly. What are you talking about, man? Ain't nobody say nothing about no R. Kelly. All right, we gotta get him out of here. I don't know who that is. He tried to troll. All right, so I think we answered every question. So for those of you who don't know, work on your game. This book right here is where I took my whole philosophy. I gave you a piece of it here today. And I put it in this book, condensing down to 250 pages because the publisher asked me to limit it to 250 pages. This book could have been 1,000 pages, but people probably wouldn't have read it. But 250, you could do that. You could do this, right? You can read this long of a book. So in this book right here, you're going to learn my background, how I came up in sports, how I made it happen, how I did it in business, how I became the CEO of my own company, and the frameworks that made this happen. It is not a memoir. This is not my life story. This is not about how to be a basketball player or an author. This is the frameworks that I use to do those things and how you can use them for your goals. You get this book at workonyourgamebook.com. That's one website, workonyourgamebook.com. I'm going to give you over $1,200 in digital bonuses immediately when you order the book. So while you're waiting for this to come in the mail, you got access to the digital bonuses right now. So again, that's workonyourgamebook.com. All right, so I've answered every question. I have addressed this topic of white privilege in America. I don't usually do this is not really a current event. This is a topic we could talk about anytime, but I wanted to make sure I'm on the record with this. I will post this one to my IGTV. It's going to be on my Facebook. I will post it on YouTube, and it'll probably come up in about a month. So everybody, I do these lives every single day. It's not always about a hot button issue like this one right here. I'll tell y'all straight up. But sometimes, if I am so inclined, I will talk about something that's going on right now. So as things happen in this whole case, right now nothing's happening, but as things happen, I will address them because I know people want to hear what I got to say about it. And frankly, I have opinions. You know, I like having opinions. That is part of what makes your brain your brand. So everybody, I do these lives every day. Tomorrow, 5:15 p.m. Eastern. If I change the time, sometimes I change the time on Saturdays. So if I change the time, it'll be on my story. Y'all know what it is. MirrorMotivation.com. The book's already paid for. It's free. You pay for the shipping. BallOverseas.com. The book's already paid for. It's free. You pay for the shipping. WorkOnYourGameBook.com. This book ain't free, but I will give you $1,200 in digital bonuses when you order the hard copy of this book right now. Send it to your doorstep. Everybody have a great Friday. Stay safe. If you're outside protesting, don't mess with the cops, because the cops will fuck you up, and cops do not roll by themselves. All right, don't approach a cop, and don't hit a cop car like those dumbasses I've seen in Miami. Work on your game. We out here. Dre all day.